I'm getting a lot of gold lately, shifting my sexual focus towards, and my energy and my sensuality towards, how can I be of service to my higher self, and how can I serve others with it. And I'm noticing how that's changing my energy around how I'm getting feedback from women and other people. I'm bringing this, as by the way, as a workshop to my men's group next week. So it's on my mind. I'm leading a piece on how do we direct our sexual energy towards service, because I'm seeing men get caught in this, and myself getting caught in this almost hunter mentality of like, I'm trying to find this woman. I'm trying to pursue somebody. I'm trying to be this. And it's not a heart-centered condition. It's not a condition of it's really helping them either, because it creates a lot of pain for for women, of course, and anyone receiving that attention, but also creates pain for the man too, who is going to be disappointed, going to be, his heart's protect. He's not open to really connect. He's not authentic when you're in this playing this game. You're a player and not a person. And so, yeah, I love your anywhere you want to jump in on that, but that's something very alive for me this week.
Yeah, I do have a question actually. I'm really curious, like when you say in service to another, if you can elaborate on that a little bit,
Sure.
like in what way?
Well, I think you spoke really well to the self. You already spoke a lot about how sexuality can be in service to your higher self,
Mhm.
can be an integration process, a spiritual awakening process. So I think you made it really clear. I thought you spoke my truth there around that. And I think in service to others, I think let's just name it. So maybe everybody has a trauma, depending on how you define trauma, that people are traumatized. People are working on their own conditioning. Women have been made to feel unsafe by men and hurt by men. So many women I talk to have a story or many stories or are living it right now. And so for a man to be able to take a step back from his own needs, from his own agenda, and to say like, oh, this is another human being that I'm with here that I want to also to be in support of this person achieving their own spiritual awakening, their own sexual healing, their own embodiment. That's the service I'm talking about, is how can, and that's what I want to encourage men to like, oh, let's take that perspective, because that's going to serve them. And that's going to, that's going to create the relationship they truly want in their life. That's going to get them to that partnership. I believe that's the more direct path to true desire and true fulfillment and satisfaction in relationship. So that's what I mean by it.
No, thanks for elaborating on that. Absolutely. And I feel like it's so true, like when we are able to like disconnect ourselves from only our own pleasure, like I'm here, I need this, and this is it, to actually being in service to the person that's with us. It just ripples out so much because you get back tenfold what you even try to like be in service to. And I feel like it just is like this beautiful energy that just feeds off of one another, like as a person who's able to receive that from another and is open to receiving, which is like such another huge topic of like so many women and are really unable to receive pleasure from their partner, or unable to receive any kind of attention in that way. They shut themselves down because we've just been so conditioned that we just give, and we please, and it's our duty, and this is the way it is. And so to even be able to have a partner who is wanting to be in service to you and in devotion to you in that way is so powerful, because then it just opens up like that surrender to one another, in my opinion, and where it's like not just, as you said, to get to the goal or just to, satisfy one's needs in the moment, but to really be in deep service of seeing the other person as like, you're a divine counterpart of mine. I want to be in service to you, and that person showing and reflecting that back is beautiful and sacred, in my opinion. So thank you for sharing that. Thank you for
Yes.
elaborating.
Yes. Thank you for asking that question. And there's a piece I want to add to that too, that to build off what you were sharing around women being afraid to ask for what they want, and men too. I think have that fear that what I'm talking about with service doesn't mean forget your desires, give up your desires,
Yeah.
deny your desires. It means naming them, asking for them with consent, like building consent in. It means being authentic about what they are and creating a safe space for the partner to say no, your partner to say no to that, and a safe space for you to say no to them. And like that also is authenticity, is being strong with your no's and your yeses and consent. And something we work on in our events we've done in other places. The Tantra event was great with this. And we're really bringing that home every day about consent. And so I think too, it's modeling that. That's part of it too. Is like, I think that's the work I'm hearing you're doing too in coaching, is some of that integration. I think this can really, coaching is an amazing place for people to do that work before they bring it to their partner. So
Yeah.
it's another reason I wanted to highlight your work. I think it's so helpful. It's been helpful to me to work one-on-one with coaches and therapists in this area. So I love that you're doing it.
Mm. Thank you. And like to bring back, yeah, like the consent issue or not issue, but just the consent dialogue and conversation. So many women, and I know I've talked about this as well on some of my shares, is that, I mean, when I say so many, I could probably say every woman or non-binary with female assigned a birth body that I have ever spoken to has at one point or another said yes to their partner during intimacy when it was actually a no, when their body was saying no. They were like, yeah, sure, just do it, go ahead, like fine, just get it over with. Like all of these stories that women bodied beings are receptive and we receive, and it's just so much, we couldn't do that to a male counterpart. Like if he's not in the mood, it's not happening, right? But for female bodied individuals, every single person I think I've ever spoken to with a female body has overstep their own boundaries. And even if it's their partner, if it's their husband, boyfriend, whatever, said yes when their body was saying no. And that creates a lot of like tension. It can over time create numbness and pain within the woman's body and just general blockage or numbness or checking out and being like, okay, just do your thing. And she's over here somewhere else, in the mind. And it's just like, I really appreciate you bringing like the consent part because consent sometimes we feel like is just if it's really overtly unconsensual, borderline sexual violence. It's not just that. Even in our own partnerships, being really attuned to the energy of our partner and really, exactly as you said, getting that yes, and really asking, is this okay? Even if it's a wife or somebody that you're with all the time, making sure, that they're okay with it because it is really I'm witnessing something that women are needing to unwind within their own bodies. It's actually presenting oftentimes physically in the body.
So is this an area you're supporting your clients, female clients through this? And how do you, let's say a client comes to you with that challenge or had challenging experiences, with this, is that an area you're inspired to offer like direct support on for a client? How would you do that?
Yeah, yeah, it definitely is. So through their coaching program and the methodology, it's really desire based. So if we have any oftentimes when we see coaching or therapy or anything like that, it's like, oh, what's wrong with me? Something's wrong with me. But instead of like looking at all the things that are wrong, we really try to look at what is it that we want. So if somebody comes and really wants to feel pleasure again, like they're numb, or they experience pain in their yoni, or if they are unable to, surrender to their partner. And so we really start working with all of our tools and methodology to come down into that space in an embodied way, really send our energy there and start exploring what is happening here and really start unwinding. Why is this happening? Like, where is this coming from? Finding the inner, like the deeper root. And then there are a lot of practices around that I would be offering around just reclaiming that part of their body again. And it could even look as like, again, self-pleasure, guided self-pleasure practices where you're even just getting your energy there and like maybe Yoni's saying no, like no, don't. And you honor it and you say, okay. And in that practice, that's that. And then maybe the next practice you try again. And it's like, okay, you can enter a little bit. And it's like just giving that trust back to self because especially if we've experienced any kind of sexual trauma or anything, it's basically taking power, right? It's like a power has been stripped away and reclaiming that power back to self and integrating the trauma. So I always recommend if people have experienced any kind of sexual abuse or trauma to make sure that they've had trauma therapy first. And then my role would be to help them integrate now so that it's no longer a blockage to exploring their own sensuality and sexuality and reclaiming their pleasure and actually working with the energy of their sexuality.
Amazing.
So yeah, so I would definitely refer out. It's really important that people get held in that space of a trauma therapist container, if that is the case. But then also to start integrating Because after that point, then you need to start integrating so you can like live your whole beautiful life, your best life.